You know, a lot of people when they're first getting started DJing, you're on a budget and you're kind of going in on the low end when it comes to equipment. And for a lot of people, that means like their first controller is probably going to be like a 2-channel controller.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is DJ MOJOE, saving the city one party at a time. I'm here with my DJ friend, DJ Kanoya.
How's it going, everyone?
So I'm here in San Diego. I'm visiting DJ Kanoya after he helped me out on an event last night at Ethereal Gardens in Escondido, California. And he's gonna show me his gear. I've been following him on Instagram. I'll leave his Instagram handle right here so you can check out his work. But we were talking about gear and portability, organization, and Denon, and we're here at his garage, and we'll be talking about some of the stuff that he has here with him, and also we'll see maybe what he explains could help you guys out. And he also has a Facebook group, which I'll let him talk about in a bit. But stay tuned in this video. This is for all the DJs out there. I'm excited to introduce you, DJ Kanoya.
Hey, it's Justin Kanoya, DJ, business coach, and idea sharer, and I'm really excited to have DJ MOJOE here in my garage / storage space for all my DJ gear. Real quick on how the two of us know each other. This actually goes back, I think it's been 2 years now. We were at Wedding World, which is the big industry event that Wedding Wire puts on. This is the one that was happening in Anaheim. And we kind of ended up at the same table. I think it was the same lunch table. There wasn't a ton of DJs at this event, so we were able to kind of bond that way, and we've just sort of stayed in touch ever since. And he found his way here in San Diego. He's actually here a few times throughout the year, but this one kind of happened to sort of line up where I was free, and we were able to kind of extend his visit a little longer. So I've invited him over, and we're going to take a look at some of my gear and just kind of talk about some of the stuff that I have.
Why do you have so much stuff?
Well, like many DJs, I do have a little bit of an addiction to DJ gear, but I also really have a lot of things because, I do a lot of different types of events. I, of course, do weddings, corporate events. I also do a lot of yoga and fitness, and for me, it's always about having the right tools for the right event. While you could certainly have one setup and like one controller that you take everywhere, I feel like for me it just makes better sense to have certain types of gear for certain applications. So we're gonna pull a few of these things out, and I'll kind of go through what I mean.
All right, so what we have taken out is the Denon DJ MCX 8000, and to my left is the Denon DJ MC 4000. And what's really great from what I see already, he used the chroma caps, is that right?
Yes, and I saw yours too.
Yeah. So I use the same blue one. It looks like he put the white and the yellow, which is great. You can really personalize your controller, which is awesome. I noticed that this is a big controller. It's a 2-rack, so you have your controller, and then what is that they call it 2-rack because you can put these two
right
on top?
So I mean, the controller itself is actually not really that big. You can see it's a really thin thing. But the case for it, because you've got the 2 rack spaces underneath and this laptop sliding shelf, really makes it a bit of a beast. But of course, just really helps streamline things so much nicer. So there's a little bit of a trade-off in weight, but there's certainly a lot of efficiency with setup when you've got something like this.
What I really like about Justin's setup, I know he posts this up on Instagram, is that he uses a power conditioner. I also use a Furman power conditioner. I'm gonna ask him in a bit why he uses it. I wonder if any of you DJs use a power conditioner as well. But what really got me is this custom built he did right here. USB power, you get mic 1, mic 2, and then you get the booth outs and the main out left and right, and the power con right all up front instead of behind. So Justin, tell me, why do you use a power conditioner?
To condition power, of course. I mean, power is really, it's obviously it's the lifeline that's coming into here. I'm certainly not as educated as other people on power issues and power needs, but it's certainly it's certainly important to have clean power coming in. Particularly like this Furman, because it has the voltage meter. Generally speaking, 120 volts is what we're all kind of aiming for. I was actually doing an event where I was getting power from a generator, and this was like flipping around between like 106 to 108 volts, and I did have some issues that night. And if I didn't have that voltage meter, I would probably be thinking about different reasons that my gear might have been failing, but I think ultimately it was just a low power issue.
Got it. Yeah, Furman is a great company for power conditioners. I also have one, but it's not a rack mountable. But this thing right here, did you learn how to do this on your own, or how did you make this one right here?
So this is, a lot of different companies will do this. This is essentially a custom rack where you can just really put whatever you need here. There's so many different types of inputs and outputs and component options. And for me, this is really emulating what's at the rear of the controller. And the alternative to this, obviously, well, for one, you could always if you don't have one of these and you don't have like short cables that are pulling to the side or to the front, is having to physically lift this out and making that connection every single time for every little gig. And one drawback with that is, after a while there's gonna be wear and tear on your connections on the controller, and you really can't replace those. So at the very least, I would recommend getting 1 foot, just short 1 foot cables, and that's the part that you're going to connect to, because if that connection wears down, you can always swap out the cable. But ultimately, this is what I would recommend, because it just saves so much time and also cleans up your setup. So if you have like those short cables, that's great, but then there's going to be these cables that are kind of dangling around, and you're not sure which one is which. Here, it's just so much easier, because now I can just take whatever cable and just plug it in there and go straight out to the speakers.
Got it. Well, this is awesome. I really like this idea, so you don't have to go in the back all the time. And I do like the idea that you can run maybe a foot or foot and a half cable just out here, so you don't have to keep going running cables from behind. I'm so fascinated by his whole setup and customization here. And check this out. He has right angle plugs into these things right here, so he leaves them all the time in. And imagine you're plugging XLR in and out like 50 times, and there could be some wear and tear maybe with the connections. But if you just have it once plugged in, you don't have to worry about it. And worst case scenario, you can just switch this out and connect XLR cable directly. I really like this, but I think that it just works if you have a 1 or 2 rack mountable. What's it called?
A 2-space rack that's underneath.
Rack. Or
but again,
1-space rack.
Like it's only like the right angle is what is working here, because this is lifted a little higher. You could still have the standard ones that just go straight in, because there'll be plenty of space.
Got it. So these right angles are pretty cool, but you can also just have it plugged in directly and just come out straight this way. But I think this works better if your controller is lifted, depending on the kind of case that you have. In this case, he has a 2 rack space right here, and that's how he has enough space for the cables to drop down. But I really like this. He just leaves it in here. I may consider that for my controller and just have a cable running from here to the other side and just leave those cables in. But what do you do with the cable problem? Like it's facing this way. How do you tackle that when all those cables are
so what's sticking out? So that is a little bit of a drawback. One option that you might be able to do, I can't do it here because of this little lip. You could get right angle connectors, so they're plugged in and they're going straight down. Nice. But that's not going to work here, because it's just this little lip right there. Okay,
so right angle connectors.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it has a cleaner look than coming from behind. Saves time, and I really like your idea. So instead of reaching in the back all the time, you can just have it right in front of you. So I like what you did, make it easier for yourself here, which is really nice.
I'd also to mention too, like there's a lot of companies online that you can find that'll do this work for you. You could also just get blank panels that have the holes pre-punched and do all the soldering yourself. So it's really kind of how much DIY you want to do.
About these connections right here, he looks like he has a little sample of what that may look like if you're planning on doing so.
Yeah, it's like we're looking inside a little bit. But yeah, this was an example of a custom panel where you would just buy the connectors, and it's totally bare, so you still need to connect an XLR cable to it. But that's kind of what it looks like from the back. And when you're ordering these online, if you're doing it completely online, you would specify the length of the tail or the cable that you need. So in this case, we're going to say we have an XLR female connector, and I need I don't know, it's like 8 inches, an 8-inch tail, and then a male end. So this is, you know, what's gonna connect to the mixer or whatever you have.
This is the other controller, and it looks like you did something here too, right?
Yeah, so this is just a, you know, just kind of a standard controller case that doesn't have any rack space, which a lot of people have. And luckily there was some space though to still put some of the connectors on here. And you know, and this, all it really had to do was drill the holes. You can purchase these connectors pretty much anywhere, and you could still get the custom length cables done online, or you know, cut and do the soldering in the cables yourself. Over the years I've just kind of wanted to learn how to solder, and it's kind of a fun little project.
So what's the name of the company that does this?
There's a lot of them. The one I did for my MCX 8000 was Redco Audio. I really like that because they actually have like an online interface where you can literally build the panel yourself. Of course, all our friends at NLFX also do the custom patches too. So those are a couple options to look into.
That's awesome, because something like this, I've never crossed my mind. I don't know where to go. Electronics and soldering, and it's something that I'm not really too familiar with. But I'm glad there's some resources and companies out there and some other DJs who are actually doing this. It makes things so much easier.
Yes.
So tell me, why do you have 2 different controllers? Like, what do you use this for?
Well, you know, really it's, as I said, I mean, obviously I love DJ gear, and I mean, that's part of it, but I also think there's a real practical use on having multiple setups. You know, a lot of people when they're first getting started to DJing, you know, you're on a budget, and you're kind of going in on the low end when it comes to equipment, and for a lot of people that means like their first controller is probably going to be like you know, a 2-channel controller, which is, it's a great entry level piece, because that's something that's, you know, anywhere from $300 to $500 on a 2-channel. And at some point people will start to graduate or upgrade to something bigger, or you know, a 4-channel controller. And what ends up happening, like, oh, you know, I'm getting something new, so I'm gonna get rid of this one. And I mean, I always tell people, like, you know, hang on to your old stuff, because you could probably still find great uses for it. And for me, you know, I mentioned that there's such an advantage to having something that's a small form factor. There's a lot of events that I'm doing where I don't need 4 channels, and for me it's just more important to have something smaller. So this could be just maybe a house party, like you're doing a pool party at someone's house and you're just needing to bring in something that's really easy. I mean, how many times we get to a house and there's no ramps, or there isn't a clear path to the backyard, so you're like having to climb upstairs, maybe up to a deck. So much more ideal to have something like this versus, like, you know, a big piece. I also do a lot of stuff in yoga studios and gyms, and those are like quick 45-minute, 1-hour gigs, and it's just really easy to be able to bring something like this and plug into the house system. But when it comes to larger events, and of course weddings, where you actually might need 4 channels of audio, you need 2 microphone inputs, you know, that's where something bigger is just gonna make better sense. You know, what I've always, you know, kind of mentioned to people is that if you only have, you know, 1 piece, then you're always gonna have to bring that. So sometimes it just might be a little bit too much for the event. It's kind of the same thinking with speakers. You know, if you have 2 speakers and a sub, you're not necessarily bringing the sub every time. You know, if you're doing an event with 40 people, you're probably not bringing your subwoofer out. So it's kind of the same thought process when it comes to controllers and equipment. Smaller events might dictate that you just need a smaller piece of gear.
So this is DJ Kanoya's QSC TouchMix 8. He did another custom build, which is pretty amazing. He used the same Audio Technica that we showed earlier that he used for the ceremony, and that can be used for here as well. And he has 2 main ends, left and right, that he uses to plug his controller. And that goes into this input right here. So from here, it goes into this input right here. And back here are the outs. These outs are connected to here. And what's great about this is that you just leave these connections here, and he just has to deal with these connections right in front. And this is really a great tool. Lots of features here. We're just talking about the videographers that you can control what audio, whether it's the music, whether it's the microphones, into their signal. So here it is, video audio. So he can mute the music so the videographers only get any speeches or toasts using these separate channels right here. So it's really cool. This is the QSC TouchMix 8. So Kanoya.
Yes.
Why do you use this QSC TouchMix 8?
Nowadays, especially with weddings, there's just so many more needs I think we have as DJs. Before it was just us, needing to amplify our music. Nowadays, it's not only just one microphone, it's two microphones. And sometimes someone's gonna be singing, or sometimes there's a guitarist. So having a live audio mixer like a TouchMix or Behringer is something that's going to be really helpful.
What I really enjoy about DJ Kanoya's setup, he has this rack case, and this is what he uses for his ceremonies. And we're just talking about how everything is in here. He has his microphones. This is custom built right here with the mic 1, mic 2. This Cat 5 thing right here. He uses Audio Technica's microphones, and what's really cool about this, what is this called, a System 10?
Yeah, System 10 Pro.
System 10 Pro, and in one rack space you can have two microphones. He clearly labeled it 1 and 2, which is pretty smart to label which one's which. And we're just talking about the Cat 5.
So what this allows you to do is extend where you want these antennas to be. So in a typical 500 megahertz system, you could do half-wave antennas like this, or you could do the shark fins. The cool thing about the System 10 Pro is you can actually remove the antennas, and you can then make a hardwired connection via Cat 5 cable to the receiver. So I've now plugged one side of the antennas in, and on the other side you would connect. There's another Cat 5 connection on the back. Obviously I can't reach in the back of my case, so I had an attachment made right to the front. So behind that is connected to the back of the receiver, and now I can take this Cat 5 cable wherever I want. For talking about ceremonies, I could literally just put it on the ground right behind the efficient, and pretty much guarantee 0 dropouts. Which is nice.
Awesome. Well, cool. That's what I didn't know about that. That's pretty awesome. So this is Audio Technica System 10 Pro. It looks like he also has a mixer at the next bottom rack right here. Tape the cables is nice so it won't get loose anywhere.
But check out this though. I like the
check this out.
little microphone.
Keep all his microphones.
Organization, so you can put the microphones in there.
Nice. All right.
Some other stuff.
Some pens, batteries.
Yeah.
And then what is a mixer?
So the mixer, and this is just a shelf.
Okay. Nice. And then what is this?
Power strip.
Oh, power strip.
Yeah. So behind, it's on the back.
Got it. Yeah. Got it. It's on the back. All right.
And then I think there's just another.
More cables and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I just put another shelf just to put some cables, and I've got my Countryman mic right here.
Nice. So why do you choose to have a road case like this?
Well, I mean, because first of all, because of all the stuff that I have for the ceremony, it was nice to put everything in one place. That's the convenient part of it. The drawback, obviously, we've got a little larger case we've got to deal with. This isn't something that I could carry into a place. It's got to be rolled in. So it's not ideal in every situation, but I would say in most cases it works out pretty well.
So folks, there you have it. We just showed you some of DJ Kanoya's gear. We hope this may have helped some of the DJs out there. We'll do our best to leave the links to some of the gear here in the description below so you can check those items out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Maybe I'll do more videos like this, take you behind the scenes of what other DJs do that maybe can help improve your business and work. So I'm DJ MOJOE. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.